I mean, let's look at some stats here. First of all, 100% stability as Portugal is no easy task. And then, of course, now we have manpower, we have a very solid industry, and it is only June 1940. So an amazing setup. Spain is our puppet, the UK is our puppet, France is our puppet, and here we left some space on purpose. I know it's ugly, but you can see the drop here, right? So if we decide to attack Germany, we can kill very easily all of their divisions in here. So that's going to be amazing. We have the perfect land to invade the United States. And of course, we have all of Brazil as our land and our cores. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I like the Iberian Peninsula so much that after dedicating our last 2 country guides to Spain, I decided to hang out in the region a little longer and cover Portugal as well. But do not worry, compared to Spain, we are tuning down the difficulty level a little bit. By following the very enjoyable monarchy's path, we will be able to secure and core Brazil. Then thanks to their manpower and industry, we will be able to expand in Europe and even rival Germany in World War II, giving us the perfect setup for the Macau My Day achievement. If that sounds interesting, you're in the right place. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, but make sure to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. As always guys, if you enjoy the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment. It always really helps the channel grow faster. That said, let's get started. As usual guys, all research and focus priorities are in the description, so they will not be covered in the edited version. And the dedicated spreadsheet covering all steps in detail is available to Tier 2 members in our usual shared folder. Here is our building priority. Here is the military production priority. We will soon add some submarines, but we need 11 navy experience for that. We're going to fix trade, but only steel. We're not going to use this template. As for the other two, Gator Cat will get our starting template, which we are going to call Def, and we are just keeping this one, while Mark will get our cover for this time. And that's about it for the initial templates. We'll get a few more later on. We can gather all of our army in Portugal, give them a fullback line, and then we're going to change everything to Def. I'm also gathering and training the navy with an admiral. Now for the occupation law, we are going for local police force, but since we have high compliance everywhere, we're going to change all of these places to civilian oversight. In this way, we'll soon get collaboration governments everywhere, including in Macau, which is needed if you're going for the achievement. Big spoilers here, and as you can see, I did test this guide in the upcoming DLC, but I cannot say anything about that, except that it didn't really work. Also, I just noticed that, yeah, Portugal non-aligned can be read as something else as well. Alright, now at 11 navy experience, we are going to make some submarines. We can change this model into this slightly more optimized one. All future dockyards will go to these submarines. After the first focus, we get enough political power to pick Army of Fence. Next, we are going for the traditional theorist. At this point, we can also pick political loyalty. It's actually a 6% boost to stability. It's huge, especially as Portugal. But since stability is going to drop soon, we're also going to pick improved worker conditions. Now with this series of focuses, mind that you need to follow the right order, otherwise there will be a civil war in Brazil. But if you follow the order I suggest, there will be no civil war and everything will be smooth. First flag change of the run. And we're now going to pick the war industrialist. Around this point you will get these series of messages about collaboration governments, and I would in principle recommend making all of them except for 2 of them, which are Mozambique and Angola. It's up to you actually, but you can technically core those 2 regions by picking these 2 focuses here. It's not particularly worth it, but since manpower is limited as Portugal, getting the extra manpower from here can be nice. It's not going to be a priority. It also takes quite a while, so if you want to make the collaboration governments, that's fine as well. Definitely make it in India. I will skip Angola for now and Mozambique. Even if you refuse, by the way, you can make them at any time from here, so it's not a permanent decision. We'll make this one here, we'll make this one here, and especially this one, this is the most important because it is needed for the Macau My Day achievement. So if you're going for that, you definitely want this collaboration government. And now super smoothly, no civil war, no issue whatsoever, we just unify with Brazil. And that's actually huge, because Brazil has a decent industry, so we are taking their factories, but especially we are taking a lot of manpower. Now, I will show you next week the communist path for Portugal, which is also very interesting, and you get to core all of Spain, but manpower tends to remain a problem with that one, while here we have absolutely no manpower issues, thanks to Brazil. Now we also need to change the setup and production a little bit. First of all, we got some new templates and we're going to use this one we got from Brazil. Andrew, you will get this one, which we're going to call simply inf. And we're going to change all of our def into the new inf. Now we want a total of 24 and we also got some extra divisions from Brazil. So we can assign these divisions to get to 24. All of them must be inf, make sure about that. And actually here is when cavalry mark becomes very, very important, because we want 24 cavalry divisions. We already have 2, so I'm going to recruit another 22. Let's make sure that everyone is in Portugal. And here the setup is important, because we want to push Spain very quickly when the time comes. So we're going to prepare them with an offensive line so that they can start getting some planning bonus in here. Same thing with the cavalry, although it's empty for now, but it's still important. We're also going to give them the only marshal we have. We use this guy for infantry, this guy for cavalry. The usual motorization priority, aggressively execute battle plans. Let's train them and let's pick some traits. We're also going to gather the new navy, also very important and very cool that we got it, except I'm gathering it probably in the wrong place. So I wanted to gather in Lisbon and then to train around Portugal. The Brazilian navy will be very important in getting supremacy against the United Kingdom, at least until the DLC comes and messes everything up. Now here is the new production priority, and we're also going to fix trade after it. And we're going to build more military factories in Portugal first, but then also in Brazil. We have a few good provinces, these ones here, the 60% ones. And now as soon as possible, at 150 political power, we're going to switch to partial mobilization. Now, at this point of the run, I would recommend making a save, because there is some RNG as to what happens in Spain. And if the civil war in Spain ends too late, it may be a problem for us. In this case, it looks like it may actually end too soon, which is more or less right, although if we have the cavalry, it's a bit better. But too late would be a big problem. So make a save, even if you're playing on Iron Man for the achievement, make a backup save at this point, so you don't have to restart from the beginning. Now, to help a bit with stability, we're going to pick some of the anti-democratic and then anti-fascist raids. Now this decreases the total stability by 10%, but then you get 0.70% weekly, and the total you gain is 12%, so it's a way to increase stability by 2%. In addition to the fact that with political loyalty, the more we are non-aligned, the more stability we gain. So it's one of the few ways you have to gain some stability. We go anti-fascist next, and we pick the financial expert. Wow, democratic Spain is getting destroyed this time. At 100 political power, we're going to pick the military theorist, and we're going for superior firepower for the immediate boost, and the very nice tactic. We're also going to pick the spirit right away, after which we're just going to focus on superior firepower doctrines. We want to force deploy our cavalry, and we want to do it continuously, just in case the civil war ends quickly, which seems to be possibly the case. So we want the cavalry deployed as fast as possible, and in terms of military factories, from now on we just want to build in the best possible available provinces, of course in Portugal and then also in Brazil. Always finish the ones you're building already. Now this next focus gives us a war goal on Spain, which actually may delay the civil war a little bit, because usually Spain sends some divisions at least at the border with us, so they take them away from the civil war. At 100 political power, we're going to pick the infantry expert. We actually do not want to help nationalist Spain, so no. And when you get 3 military factories, we're going to switch the priority to artillery. So everything goes to artillery, but lowest priority. There we go. We got our claim on Spain. We don't want to declare war on them yet. Otherwise, we'll need to share the score, of course, with democratic Spain. So we need national in Spain to win the civil war. And if they do it now, at about any time, it's fine. If we have a little bit more time to prepare and train our cavalry, it's fine. We got a few buffer focuses from now on, but not too many. If it gets too late, then it's gonna be a problem. We can now pick another improved worker conditions. Ooh, naval invasion. It's painful. Okay, Spain is down. I think Catalonia will be down pretty soon too, so we better stop training these divisions as we need to get ready to attack Spain soon. We're now going to pick the artillery expert. There we go, the civil war in Spain is over. Now we need to act faster because right now Spain lost most of their divisions. They have quite a few divisions, but after the civil war, as you know, if you followed my guide about Spain, you lose most of them. So right now Spain doesn't have divisions. They will deploy them fast though, so we need to take them down before they do that. They will also get volunteers from Italy and Germany. That's why we're going to abuse this cavalry to rush all of the victory points as fast as possible. Now the other thing we want to do is we want to set up our fleet on strike force in here so we avoid naval invasions from them. That said, let's just declare war on Spain and start pushing immediately. Now with the infantry you can just battle plan, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that you micro at least a little bit, nothing crazy. This is much easier than what you have to do in the Spanish Civil War. But micro a little bit the cavalry so that they rush the victory points in Spain. As you can see, there is plenty of gaps that we can abuse, and we are indeed going to do so. Now we are very low on stability and war support. That's another reason why we want this war to be over as soon as possible. Okay, let's check the situation. It's alright. If we can get to Barcelona and Valencia and take back Sevilla, which I stupidly lost, we should be good. Valencia is taken. We can see some German volunteers. That's of course a bad sign because our army is pretty bad. But Sevilla is almost taken and that should probably be enough. Yeah, that's enough. Okay, as you can see, fairly smooth. We didn't do anything crazy here. It's just using the cavalry. Spain doesn't have divisions. They have like 10 divisions probably. So we can be very happy. This was done perfectly on time. So that's great. Now, with Spain, since they don't actually get cores on their own land, we don't want to puppet nationally Spain. One option would be to annex them, but I prefer to still puppet them, I prefer to balkanize them. And then the part that you cannot balkanize, then you can just puppet it as Spain. They don't have cores, but that's fine. And very important, we also want to take their navy. Our navy is not big and we need everything we can get in order to be able to approach the United Kingdom. We can now switch the fleet back to naval exercises and train them a little bit. Now that Spain is taken, it is time to change our army once again. So first of all, we're going to change our infantry template to the offensive template. So I'm sorry, Andrew, but you did your job for now. Dr. Hoops is back with off. And what we're going to do here is just rearrange a bit this infantry and then add some amazing line artillery, which, as you know, I very much love. And in this case, we are going for a 30 with 9-4. Then we're also going to change all of these cavalry divisions to our Gator Cut Def. And speaking of defensive divisions, we also want another full army, so another 24 defensive divisions. Our best general, which is probably the guy with cavalry, but I don't know because this guy may get the infantry expert, doesn't matter that much, will be leading the offensive into France. And we're going to push into France from Catalonia. So we're going to prepare them in here and give them a nice offensive line all the way to Paris so they can start getting some planning bonus. The army of defensive will be following them around, but for now let's keep them back a little bit or they will run out of supplies and they can just keep training for the time being. And the last army that we are recruiting right now will stay in Portugal to defend from naval invasions when we eventually attack the allies. Now there is something very important to mention. We want to join World War II as soon as possible. In fact, if we can attack France before the beginning of World War II, that would be ideal. But for that we need to justify a war goal, and the war tension just isn't there. Now we have a couple of options to increase it. Unfortunately, they don't increase it by much, but among other war goals, we also got one on Peru and one on Venezuela. I mean, we also got one on Italy and Germany, but we don't really want to declare war on them, nor Japan. So the options are Peru and Venezuela. These are particularly good options because we can just declare war on them to increase the war tension a little bit, and then the United States will demand white peace, will take the white peace and not actually fight those wars. The problem is the war tension you get with these wars is fairly limited. It's 1% and 1%. So it's like so close, but not enough probably right now to get to 50%. And depending on when you end the civil war, there might be a difference here. Now, of course, Germany is going after Czechoslovakia and then later on after Memel. So at some point we may get into that 48-49% range. It looks like we are not there yet. Of course, the war tension is also decreasing over time, so there is that. There is the Munich agreement though, and that's perfectly timed. As you can see, now the war tension is 50%, which means we can justify on France. Now, just to show you, in case at this point, because there is a little bit of RNG as to the war tension, in case the war tension is slightly below 50%, so what you can do is you declare war on Peru, you declare war on Venezuela, and as you can see, you can gain that extra 2% war tension. So here it's enough, and we're going to justify our war goal on France right now. By the way, in case you're particularly unlucky with war tension, say the civil war ends at the wrong time and you cannot get to 50% because it decreases too fast, at that point it's better to wait until Germany declares war on Poland. Then after France joins against Germany, you will be able to justify on France, in any case because the war tension will be high enough, and the claim will take a lot less. So it will still be later than this, not ideal, but you will be able to join against France and take some of the score, which is the absolute priority. And as for the wars here, as I was mentioning, we can just white peace out of them. That's totally cool. Now at 75 political power, we're going to pick radio propaganda. Then we are going for some more raids to increase stability. And again, I'm promoting a general for the last army and setting them up in this way. We can also go for anti-fascist raids, and at this point we should also be able to assign some new MIOs, so let's go on and do that. We are now going to pick army logistics, and we're going to stop training our fleet as we're completely out of fuel. Now we got our claim on France. This is a very early claim because we were doing great with war tension. Usually you get it a little bit later. And our army is not fully ready for it yet, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer. In any case, as you know, the claim lasts for about 2 months, so for a bit at least we can wait. 2 months is going to mean a lot of extra artillery for our army, and then we're just going to declare war on France. We're now going for some anti-democratic raids again. As you can see, overall we're boosting our stability significantly. Okay boys, no more delaying available. It is time for the war on France. Of course, this means war on the Allies. Now don't worry, because nobody can invade Spain. The UK cannot come from here. They can attempt naval invasions of Portugal, which is well defended. They will attempt naval invasions of Catalonia, so that's why we have this extra army. They should not be able to push us, although for the time being probably we can also not push them. So we'll play defensively for a little bit. So war on France, let's go. Now, yes, of course, if you don't want to call Catalonia, you can also not do that. I think we're going to do that, so we can start farming some experience and some war score. I think we can probably hold the French in here. We're going to check, but I'm fairly confident. One thing that is going to happen is that they will be able to push us in Brazil, but it will take them forever to get to the important part of Brazil. So we can just completely ignore that. I think with infantry expert we may have a chance at pushing them. I'm going to give it a try and see what happens. Yeah, okay, maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. Keep in mind that the primary purpose of this operation is to get more score in the war. We don't need to push France, although if we can get to Paris first, of course that's great. But it is not mandatory. Ooh, okay, this is bad though. So this is something we need to pay attention to. Nothing terrible, nothing terrible. But that's why this army usually stays on the defensive, just in case. This is actually a good way to kill some of their divisions, since they are now without a harbor. They are attempting Portugal as well, no luck there. Now let's see if there is any chance we push them down here. We go for naval invasions, but we don't mind. Now Germany is getting involved as well, which may actually be helpful at this time, as we are struggling a little bit here. Now we also want to pick war propaganda to keep our war support up as much as possible. And Germany will invite us to the Axis, which we will accept. That's fairly convenient for us right now. They can give us some air superiority, which can be helpful. And we can start checking what the participation is. Of course, it's gonna be great for us at the beginning. It's gonna get a bit worse later. This is all pretty decent land combat damage for us. Ooh, look at the divisions we are destroying down here. That's pretty cool. It's very cool. And the UK is trying really hard to invade me this game. Interesting. Ooh, they're invading here again. Oh, it's Australia. Look at that. It's a bit annoying that Catalonia keeps capitulating as soon as they take one province, but it's fine. Okay, we finally destroyed those divisions. That's very convenient. Now we can focus on France, and now we should be able to push them. Now they're much weaker than before. Now something that may happen at this time, and it's a little bit annoying, is if Germany breaks through the Maginot. That's annoying because they capitulate France very quickly, and we want France for ourselves. Okay, now that the offensive army is back there, I will keep one army here because these naval invasions are a bit too annoying now. It's good because we killed a lot of their divisions, and yeah, the participation though, it's falling behind. That's of course because Germany is getting a lot of points here, and with air warfare. Not loving this direction of attack, but it is more or less working. Yeah, now we're breaking through. That's great. And we even got some encirclements. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know why Germany is stealing these from me. That's not very cool. That's much better. That's very impactful in the score actually, so it's very important that it's us pushing, not Germany taking the score from us. We can now import propaganda films or domestic film industry if you have access to that. Either way, it's going to help. I think we can move back this army to protecting the entire front, since now we can be naval invaded on different sides. And how lovely is this? Look at Portugal destroying France. I'm inclined to keep pushing here, although of course at any point we can try to rush Paris and completely end the war. Now Italy is in it as well, so we may want to do that sooner rather than later. Now they're falling apart. I think it may be time to go for Paris. Let's just go for Paris. Now what we need here is we need Germany to declare war on Belgium and the Netherlands. But if we are ready when they do that, that's better. They are going to do it soon, shortly after Denmark, hopefully. They're defending Paris hard. Look at that. I've never seen the French do something so smart. That's crazy. Very good job, but I don't know why, but somehow you still capitulated though. But you did an amazing job. I'm very, very proud of you. Look at France. It's Portuguese France. It's actually the United Kingdom of Portugal and Brazil France that we have right here. Now, if you hadn't joined the Axis yet, you would do it now in any case, but it doesn't change much. In terms of the score, it's basically the same thing. As you can see, we are still doing great at this time, so that's perfect. Now, what we want to do is we want to give Paris to Germany. That way, they will form Vichy France, which we can claim and take after the main war. The main advantage of that is that there will be less stuff for us to claim in the war, and we can focus our shared war score on the most important priorities. So now I'm going to give Germany control of Ile-de-France. And the other thing we're going to do at this point is we're going to create an agency, we are going to get the naval department upgrade, and we're going to start spying on the United Kingdom. As for our army, we are going to prepare them to push into Belgium. We can take some more score from here. And the defensive army here, we can plan an offensive into the Netherlands from Germany, again to help with the score. And there we go, we got Vichy France, and we can justify a war goal on Vichy France. Vichy France is guaranteed by Germany, but since we're in the Axis, we do not care, so that's perfect. Now we're going to change the production a little bit here, and this is the new production priority. One thing we may want to avoid at this point is letting our convoys be raided, so let's try to prevent that from happening. Let's adjust raid as well. We can now import back from Vichy France. Now, there we go. The Luxembourg. The Netherlands, perfect. Belgium, don't forget Belgium, Germany. Come on. And there we go. Belgium too. Germany behaved properly. I'm so proud of you, Germany. And that's awesome. Because what this means is we can finally plan the naval invasion of the United Kingdom. Now, if you're watching this guide in a few weeks with the new DLC, until this point everything should be fine, but the next step might prove to be impossible. I hope things change by then. I hope somebody finds another exploit, but this may not work anymore. In any case, we also want to wait another 27 days for the naval invasion, as we will get some more troops on the mainland. The other thing we of course need to do is we need to prepare our fleet in this amazing harbor. So I'm going to unlock these sea regions temporarily so that we can send a fleet, and I always recommend making a save at this point, because if your fleet gets intercepted and destroyed, well, that's pretty much GG. We don't have the biggest fleet, but it should be enough to get the naval supremacy. Just need to be a little patient. Now we should also have a little bit of planes that we stole somewhere around. Nothing massive, but we can send them here and later on use them to get green air, briefly at least, in the North Sea. Let's prepare these divisions here for the naval invasion, and these ones will be supporting, so we want them just behind. Okay, we got landing craft. Now everything is ready for our naval invasion of the United Kingdom. We go with groups of 4. We go uniquely from this harbor. And we go to this area here. Although we don't have tanks in these divisions, the template right now is very solid. The soft attack is amazing. The artillery is really helping, especially thanks to the advisor that offers another 15% artillery attack. That really helps. Now we also got our spy, so we can start spying on the UK. I'm going to get a second spy later on, so I'm going for 5 total upgrades. We're going to switch to limited conscription to get some more manpower. Okay, naval invasion ready, so usual setup for now at least. Let's unlock sea regions. The more destructions for the UK, the better. Let's select all of our submarines, split them into a new fleet. New admiral as well. Small groups, 5 or less, and convoy raiding around the UK, but not in the North Sea. As for the North Sea, we are going to set the rest of the fleet on naval invasion support. We don't get supremacy for now. We need to be a little patient here. And what you want to do is you want to trigger this arrow. Even though it says you cannot, you can trigger the arrow. This way, if you get green sea at any time, at any point, the naval invasion will just trigger. Now the other thing we can do is we can use these planes to get some air. Maybe, possibly, probably not. But let's see. That's funny that we got the green sea in here, but not in here for now. Let's just be patient. There we go, green sea. That's the usual thing. We got it. That's all we need until the DLC hits, and then we're all screwed. Okay, usual force attack to disembark a bit faster. The UK is likely defending, and defending well, maybe. But not defending the entire coast, so we can rush the other side, split them into 2, take some of the victory points already. The highest priority, as always, is taking the harbors. One is taken, the other one is taken, that's perfect. We can now send over the additional army. We prepared this army, will be covering the northern front. Technically, at this point, you could remove your fleet entirely, or you can just leave it there. It's fine, because after the war, we'll take the Royal Navy, so... Now the UK is suffering. Look at that. Okay, this guy is getting encircled, definitely, like 100%, but that's okay. He's not the only one getting encircled, is he? No, this one is also getting encircled. Look at that. It's okay, we now got the second army, which means we can focus the first army entirely on the southern coast of the UK, rush the last few victory points, and end this war. I love destroying the UK in this way. I really hope we'll find a way to do it again in the DLC. Very satisfying to do this as a minor, as Portugal. Oh, by the way, the 2 achievements as Portugal are to Macau Day, so you need to own all of China as Macau, and to join the same faction as the United Kingdom. And I would like you to let me know in the comments, since this is not Iron Man, if this achievement is taken, and I believe it that's going to be the case if we just puppet the UK in the peace conference. I believe that will count as them being in our coalition, although that's the Axis, so a bit weird. But that should be enough to get the achievement. So please let me know if that's really the case or not. Now, no point in waiting here. The more time passes, the more Germany takes more score. And we are very happy with a balanced score like this. 44-40. Very, very happy with that. Something for airplanes somewhere in here? No, right? We don't. This is for the army. This is for the navy. Planes. Not a thing. Not a thing in Portugal. Okay, we got our claim on Vichy France. Look at that. Perfectly timed. Yeah, we need at least another victory point, but nothing too difficult. Is that enough? Oh, that's enough. That's enough. The UK is down. Let's make a save. Boys, we can be super happy with this. The United Kingdom is down, perfectly on time, and we basically got the same score as Germany. Slightly less, that's a bit sad, but that's fine. And that's mostly because we used the Vichy France trick. So we lost some of the score we would have gotten down here. But at least Vichy France is out of the peace conference, meaning we can focus all of our points on the most important things. So, the most important things are annexing these two provinces to invade the United States, as usual. Yeah, so we're going to puppet Normandy, we're going to puppet Suez as usual, we're going to puppet Gibraltar, and we also want to puppet this area here, otherwise our Brazil can be invaded, so let's try to prevent that. And then as usual, this very rich region is always worth puppeting. And then we're going to focus on France and the UK for additional puppets. Now, puppeting Ile-de-France would be nice, so we reduce even further the space in here. That could be very cool. And then let's focus on the UK though, that's a higher priority. You can make some adjustments depending on how much of the score you got. But this would be pretty cool, so the Germans will keep some space in here that we can fully invade later on. That said, if we take this tile, then the divisions in here will be completely encircled. That would be even nicer. Honestly, we got a lot of points, so I think we can afford to take a little bit more here. And you know what else can be useful? These two things in here. So we have an easier access to China, and I also believe this stuff is needed. So, in fact, this stuff is needed for the achievement. So we need to annex them, and then I think we can just give it to them. Yeah, that should be fine. It's good that I noticed. Forgetting about this too would be painful. Then as usual we take care of the leftovers. There are always some leftovers. I don't know why the eye hates Tahiti, but I don't, so I'll take it. And now get ourselves some resource rights and war reparations. Why not? And with the remaining points, we can take as much of the Royal Navy as possible. This is maybe a little bit less than I would like, but it's fine because we are going to take the Vichy France fleet as well. So, it's totally good. Confirm, I think we can be very happy with these. And at this point, if you're playing Iron Man, I believe that this Porto-Brazilian Britain will give you the achievement, but please let me know. Look at how ugly this is, but this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. Now it's time to invade France again. So we're going to do the same thing. I think we can go with naval invasions only, possibly. And what we're going to do with the spy is we are going to start spying on China. Assuming we'll go for the Macau My Day achievement eventually in future. I will not cover it in this guide. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. And I will set it up just so that we can go for it easily. By the way, if you need more divisions now, you can request 124 of them from the United Kingdom. Not that we particularly need them, but just in case. Now we got the biggest army in the world. I just need to be careful not to lose this claim, so July 30, okay, that's fine. Now we got the field hospital, we can add it to our offensive template. The naval invasion seems ready. Let's split these guys around a bit. Let's get us the naval supremacy in here. And let's go after... Oh, wait a second. This part is not Vichy France. But this is already my France. Oh. 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 Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't consider that true. If you puppet France when Vichy France exists, your puppet takes Vichy France. I guess we're happy with that. I didn't even notice, but yeah, that works too. Now, of course, this depends a little bit whether you can take Paris or not in the puppeting of France. So if you don't have enough points, this setup is still useful and important. But of course, if you do have the points, and you can do this, and you can take Vichy France for free. Now, the disadvantage of doing this is you don't get war reparations and you do not get their fleet. But it's still fine. You can always annex them later on and take the fleet that way. Alright guys, so I was actually planning to end this with the naval invasion of Vichy France, and I didn't think about the fact that if you puppet Paris, Vichy France is automatically taken by your puppet. But I would say we are still very, very happy, and we still have an amazing setup for Macau My Day. We can now invade Japan from Macau, and then after Japan is taken down, we can focus entirely on China, and we can easily do that before the US gets involved, so no other majors should be part of this war. Now, I feel like this is already a pretty decent package for Portugal. I mean, let's look at some stats here. First of all, 100% stability as Portugal is no easy task. And then, of course, now we have manpower, we have a very solid industry, and it is only June 1940. So an amazing setup. By the way, it's not easy to see from here because, of course, we are in the Axis, but Spain is our puppet, the UK is our puppet, France is our puppet, and here we left some space on purpose. I know it's ugly, but you can see the drop here, right? So if we decide to attack Germany, we can kill very easily all of their divisions in here. So that's going to be amazing. We have the perfect land to invade the United States, and of course we have all of Brazil as our land and our course, which is very, very important for the manpower. So guys, I would say this was an amazing run as Portugal. Next week, we are going to work on Portugal again because I want to show you the communist path. Now, the strategy is somewhat similar with some advantages and some disadvantages. I want to offer you both options. And then we're going to continue with Macau My Day, especially if it is requested enough. I plan to do it, but please let me know in the comments if you would be interested. So we will dedicate an additional video to that achievement. I don't think it's going to be particularly complex, so if you want to try on your own, just go for it. You have an absolutely perfect setup, and let me know how it goes. It may be helpful for my run as well. Guys, I must admit, after playing Spain, Portugal was very much refreshing. It was very enjoyable. Peacefully annexing and coring Brazil and then swarming Spain in like 1 week. Oh, that feels so good after spending hours micromanaging the civil war. I hope you enjoyed this run as much as I enjoyed working on it. And if you do, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Especially let me know if you want me to go for Macau My Day. Other than that, guys, as usual, thank you all for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye!